This time on Irate Garage, we're trying some Motor Purr, my Allis Chalmers C. Now this tractor has always seemed to run pretty good for me, but the one thing that comes up a lot is how the carburetor acts up, and I think it's getting gummed up and it struggles a little bit just to function. So we're gonna add some Motor Purr to the tank. I'm gonna start it real quick. And that's about the way she is. It runs the same pretty much whether it's hot or cold. So anyway, we're gonna add some of this to the tank. A bottle treats about 20 gallons worth or so. And I've added some to my lawnmower already. And I'm gonna put about half of what's in here in here. The tank on this isn't very big and I only put a few gallons in at a time. So that'll be a pretty concentrated mix. And then the rest of this I'm gonna put in my Bobcat. That'll work. Yeah, it's a little more than half of what was in there. It did spill a little on the paint. I'm not concerned on this tractor, but if you are, don't do that. All right, let's start it up and see what it's like. I'm actually going to add the rest of this to the tank. There's more gas in there than I thought. So I ran it around for probably an hour. I'm gonna guess and say that we burned about a gallon of fuel, thereabouts. This thing doesn't use that much. Probably too early to tell, but it does seem like it's maybe improved just a little bit. It won't be until this tank is all the way ran through it that I'll know for sure. This video will probably take me maybe even a month to film all the stuff. So today I want to try to get some Motor Purr through the intake on this tractor. The combustion chambers are pretty carboned up and nasty looking, and I want to try to clear that out. But it might be a little bit tricky. Let me show you. So where normally a car would have a carburetor on top, a lot of these old tractors have a carburetor that's on the side. This is called an updraft carb, and that is the intake going into the carburetor. And this is what's called an oil bath air filter. Now, what I think I want to try to do is take and pour Motor Purr right into the intake here. When it's running, there's a lot of air going through there. The one thing I will have to do first, though, is take the lower portion off and pour the oil out of it. Otherwise, whatever I pour in will probably just get suspended in that filter. And hopefully that the air going in there will be basically violent enough that the Motor Purr will stay aerated nicely and will make its way into the engine. I think that should work. If it doesn't, what I'm going to have to do is remove the air filter itself and figure out a way of introducing the Motor Purr into the engine in another fashion. Nothing I am going to show you today is what they recommend you do. I've never even heard them talk about putting their product to a tractor like this, so this is all new ground for everyone. Alrighty, let's see what we get here. Ew. I think that'll work. There's a metal screen in here, but I think that will work just fine. Yeah, puff smoke every once in a while. So what I have is the funnel set up so that I don't risk spilling any on the exhaust. This stuff is very flammable, so we want to try to mitigate any oopsies. Safety Ray-Bans engaged. Motor Purr, baby. Awesome. I'm going to open this up and see if there's any Motor Purr in there or if it all worked its way through. Oh, there's a fair bit of Motor Purr in there. Okay. All right, let's see how much we lost here or didn't make its way through. Whoa, that is a lot darker. It must have cleaned a bunch of oil out of the filter. Well, let's set this all back up and run the rest of this through there. All right. Try that again. Just a little bit left in there. But I think that's mostly oil that it's cleaned up from that thing anyway. Now normally in a car, you would take it out and you romp on it pretty good, put it into passing gear, so to speak, and let her eat. Not really possible with a tractor, but I think in lieu of that, we're just gonna run and mow. I got some heavy mowing to do with her yet. Busting up gopher mounds with the deck, that type of thing. That should work her pretty hard, and we'll see what we get. I don't know if any miracles were worked on it today, but one thing I can tell you is the exhaust smells cleaner. That is something that keeps coming up every time I run this in something, be it my Coupe de Ville or my Eldorado or my wife's 706. There's just something about it, it burns cleaner. And the exhaust is less harsh smelling. I still want to do the tune up through the oil itself. I'm waiting on some of that to show up. Okay, So today we're going to be adding the Motor Purr tune-up to the crankcase on this Trayer tractor. Now you're supposed to add it and let it sit for 5 minutes or so, and then start it and let it idle for 20 minutes, or if you're working on a car, take it on the road for a few miles. So ooh, you can see what the inside of that engine's like. Nasty. Motor Purr has a smell to it, man. I don't know what to tell you. It smells good if you ask me. So I'm going to bring my truck down here, change the oil in that while this is running and doing its thing with the Motor Purr. After I'm done with the truck, maybe I'll change the oil in this, or it might be a task for tomorrow. Depending on how time works out. Busy lives, am I right? Alright, we'll let it run for 20 minutes or so. It's interesting how it sounds a little more even. You know, it's always had kind of what I would describe as an ignition knock. I think I'll let it sit for a little bit, have dinner, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and just change the oil because I'm really curious to see what that's like. Let's change the oil. Oh yeah, that smells like Motor Purr, all right. Well, the fun part of spring's over. The mosquitoes are out. That is wildly thin. Yeah, there's like sludgy chunks. There's sludgy chunks in the screen here. Interesting. Must have knocked something loose. I'm going to start it and we'll let it run for a minute and check the oil again. Very interesting. The reality with this tractor is it's old and it's largely pretty wore out. Is it fair to expect miracles out of something? Not really. It's not rebuild in a bottle. It is a tune-up. What I can say is it does seem like it runs a little smoother. Seems like it smokes a little bit less. That kind of a knocky sound. This tractor has done it for as long as I've known it, but that part does seem a little better to my ears anyway. Oh, and then the oil pressure was more stable. It's always bounced around, and now it seems more stable, just a little bit of a wiggle to it. That's an interesting note too. So I think they were going to call it for today. I'm going to run it for a little bit here, probably for another couple of weeks, maybe a month. This thing does not burn much gas, so it'll take a while to actually work some of the gas through the system. We will touch base after a few weeks. Well, it's been a little while since we ran the Motor Purr. So what are my thoughts? Now, I don't know if I want to say that Motor Purr is a miracle cure, because it really isn't. It's just a very good cleaner. But it does seem to have helped this tractor out quite a bit. It's smoking a lot less. It still smokes, but it's less. This thing always had kind of a funky, rattle, knocky sound, and that is pretty much gone at this point. I'm not sure what was going on there. The oil pressure seems more stable, and we maybe have even gained a pound, which doesn't sound like much, but you know, 10 pounds to 11 pounds is quite a bit. But by and large, I think it has improved. I'm quite pleased. I will continue to run the tractor, and I'll keep you guys updated. I think I'm gonna do like a big Motor Purr long-term review on everything that I'm running it in. But so far on this here tractor, I think it's doing pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with it. One weird thing that did happen though, and I don't know if it has anything to do with the Motor Purr or not, but a couple weeks ago I was mowing with it, and all of a sudden it just started bucking and farting and smoking and all sorts of just craziness. And I think it was probably a bunch of stuff working loose out of the chambers and burning through. If I had to guess, that's what it was. It's the first time it's ever done anything quite that crazy. And once it worked through it, it was fine. I mean, it took all of like 5 seconds, but it was just a real, almost violent, just smoking and shaking, and I thought it was coming apart, and then it blipped right out of it, and off we went. But as of right now, I am pretty pleased. Motor Purr for the tractor seems to be working pretty good. I'm also running it in my Bobcat, and I am running it through the fuel side on another tractor too. We'll see how all that works out, and you'll see how that works out right here when that video is live. Otherwise, there'll be another one that I have picked out just for you. Be safe. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.